Hey y'all, this is Miss Early, and this is the video on how to create a tessellation. These are the 4 things you're going to need. A square piece of paper, and there's a different video on my YouTube on how to create that square. Some kind of tape, scissors, and something to draw with. So we're going to start, guys, by drawing a line from the top left corner down to the bottom left corner. And you can zigzag, curve around, however you want to draw it, from the top left to the bottom left. And then I want you to label this section with an R. We'll talk more about that later, okay? Now we ended here, bottom left corner, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go across until we get to the bottom right corner. I don't want to cross over into this section, guys. I want to stay away from that line, actually. So be sure to be careful. Okay. Then you're going to label this section too, the letter T. And then this large section here, we're just going to go ahead and label that with an M. All right. And once you've drawn these 2 lines and labeled your 3 sections, we're actually going to cut out each little shape that we've drawn, okay? So take a second, and let's cover that. There's one. And sure. Okay. Let me try to lay them back kind of where they belong. All right, guys. So basically, we've kind of created like 3 puzzle pieces. Each one should have a letter labeling it. Now I'm going to go ahead and get some tape because we're going to move these sections to a new location and then tape them there. So the reason this section is labeled T is because this is T for top. So I'm actually going to move this to the top. Okay, you can see where those 2 straight lines want to come together perfectly. That is because that is exactly where it's supposed to go. And I'll take some tape. Any kind of tape will do. I mean, I'm using painter's tape. And now this section is labeled R because it is going to move to the right. And you can also see, got your nice straight lines right there, where you're going to join these together. All right, and that is your tessellation shape. Now, it doesn't need to be beautiful or anything, guys. We're just using this as a stencil, and we're going to be tracing around it. So you need your drawing paper. You're going to lay your tessellation shape, basically in the middle of your paper. And you're going to hold it still with your empty hand, and with your drawing hand, we're going to trace around it. You should go all the way around. Let me just make sure I'm all the way around. Okay, and if you miss any little spots, you can just kind of fix them up. All right. Okay, so guys, a tessellation is a pattern of shapes that fit together perfectly with no gaps or overlapping. So I'm going to put my shape I mean, you can see where I traced it on my paper. I'm going to put my shape back in this original spot. And then I'm going to slide my shape straight up. And you should see where your shape will fit perfectly with itself, okay? Now, guys, your paper is probably going to be a little small. It's okay. Just trace what you can and go off the paper. Put my shape back in the center, and this time I'm going to slide down, and you can see where that fits right there. Trace it again. And I'm going to keep repeating this, guys, until I fill up the entire paper. All right. Come back to the center. Now you can move left. See where that fits in. Like I said, trace what you can, just go off the paper. Back to the center for our last tracing. And then we'll have the paper filled. All right. And that, guys, is how you create your tessellation pattern.